She bragged to her sister, "I'm pregnant with his best friend's baby, but I'll pin it on him at family dinner." Her teenage nephew filmed it on TikTok and showed me later. I got a DNA test, restraining order, and now she's paying child support to her baby daddy while I'm free. I, 32M, never thought my marriage would end because of a TikTok video, but here we are. The whole thing started at what I thought was just another boring family dinner at my in-laws' house 3 months ago. My wife had been acting strange for weeks, more secretive with her phone, staying out late, claiming work was demanding more of her time. I brushed it off as stress from her new promotion. That Sunday evening, I was helping her father fix their broken deck railing when her teenage nephew approached me with his phone. The kid looked nervous, fidgeting with the device like he was holding a live grenade. He told me there was something I needed to see, something he'd accidentally recorded during dinner while making TikToks for his friends. The video was only 30 seconds long, but it destroyed my entire world. The camera had been pointed toward the kitchen where the women were cleaning up after dinner. My wife was talking to her sister, completely unaware she was being recorded. The audio was crystal clear. She was bragging about being pregnant with my best friend's baby, laughing about how she'd convinced me it was mine and how easy it would be to fool me since we'd been trying for a baby for 2 years. Her sister was encouraging her, telling her she was smart to secure her future this way. They discussed how my best friend was wealthy but unreliable, while I was the stable option who would actually stick around to raise the child. My wife mentioned how she'd been sleeping with him for months, timing everything perfectly so the pregnancy would seem legitimate to me. I watched that video 5 times before the reality sank in. The nephew explained he'd been filming content for social media when he accidentally caught their conversation. He'd almost deleted it until he realized what he'd recorded. The kid was only 16, but he knew this was serious enough to show me. I thanked him and asked him to send me the video, which he did immediately. Then I went back inside and pretended everything was normal for the rest of the evening. My wife sat next to me on the couch, her hand resting on her still flat stomach, talking about baby names and nursery colors. Every word felt like a knife. That night, I lay awake planning my next moves. I needed to be smart about this. I couldn't confront her without concrete proof beyond the video. I needed more evidence, and I needed to protect myself legally. The next morning, I called in sick to work and drove to a lawyer's office. I brought the video and explained the situation. The lawyer advised me to gather more evidence before taking any action, especially since divorce proceedings involving pregnancy could get complicated. She suggested I play along while building my case. For the next week, I became an actor in my own life. I pretended to be excited about the pregnancy announcement my wife made that Tuesday evening. She presented it like a surprise, showing me a positive pregnancy test and watching my face for reaction. I forced myself to smile and hug her, all while knowing the truth. During this time, I started noticing things I'd missed before. Text messages she quickly hid when I entered the room. Phone calls she took in the bathroom. Late-night trips to the grocery store that took hours. Her explanation was always work-related stress or pregnancy symptoms, and I'd been too trusting to question it. I hired a private investigator to document her activities. Within a week, he had photos of her entering my best friend's apartment building on 3 separate occasions, staying for hours each time. The same friend who'd been coming to our house for dinner, playing video games with me, acting like nothing was happening. The betrayal cut deeper than I expected. We'd been friends since college, and I'd trusted him completely. He was supposed to be my child's godfather. After 2 weeks of gathering evidence, I had enough to proceed. The lawyer filed for divorce and arranged for a DNA test to be conducted as soon as the baby was born. We also prepared a restraining order based on the emotional distress and deception. Meanwhile, I continued playing my role at home. My wife was making plans for the baby, talking about converting the spare bedroom into a nursery. She'd even started a baby registry and was planning a gender reveal party. The elaborate deception was almost impressive in its thoroughness. The hardest part was pretending to be close with my best friend. He came over for our weekly game night, acting completely normal while knowing he was sleeping with my wife and planning to let me raise his child. When my wife served us dinner, I watched them carefully avoid eye contact, communicating through subtle glances when they thought I wasn't looking. 3 weeks after discovering the truth, I decided to confront my best friend first. I invited him out for drinks at our usual bar, a place where we'd celebrated promotions, commiserated over breakups, and planned each other's bachelor parties. I showed him the video without saying a word. His face went white as he watched himself being discussed as the biological father of my wife's baby. When it ended, he tried to deny it, claiming the video was fake or taken out of context. I pulled out the photos from the private investigator. He broke down then, admitting everything. The affair had started 6 months ago at a work conference where my wife had been representing her company and he'd been attending as a vendor. What began as drinks between acquaintances became a full-blown affair. He claimed it wasn't planned, that they'd both been drunk and it just happened. But the pregnancy was deliberate. They discussed it, planned it, decided together that I would be the better father figure while he could enjoy the financial benefits of not having responsibility. He'd even agreed to pay my wife money monthly to help support the child, essentially paying her to fool me into raising his baby. The conversation lasted 2 hours. He begged me not to tell anyone, promised to end things with my wife, offered to disappear from both our lives completely. I told him it was too late for any of that. The damage was done, and there would be consequences. I went home that night and told my wife I knew everything. I showed her the video, the photos, told her about my conversation with our mutual friend. She tried several different approaches: denial, anger, tears, bargaining. She claimed she loved me and had made a mistake. She said the baby might actually be mine since we'd been intimate during the same time period. I wasn't interested in any of her explanations. I handed her the divorce papers and informed her that a DNA test would determine the biological father. Until then, she needed to find somewhere else to stay. She moved in with her sister, the same one who'd encouraged her deception in that recorded conversation. Over the next few months, I changed the locks, separated our finances, and began the process of untangling our shared life. Update 1. The baby was born 4 months later. My wife tried one last time to convince me to reconcile, bringing the newborn to my house and asking if I wanted to hold my daughter. I told her we'd wait for the DNA results. The test took 2 weeks to process. During that time, my wife's family tried to pressure me into accepting responsibility for the child regardless of paternity. Her mother called me selfish and cruel for abandoning a baby. Her father suggested I was destroying the family over my pride. But the nephew who'd recorded the original video supported me completely. He'd shown the recording to his parents, who were horrified by what their family members had done. This created a rift in my wife's family, with some supporting her and others condemning her behavior. When the DNA results arrived, they confirmed what I already knew. The baby was not mine. My ex-best friend was the biological father. I immediately filed for the restraining order, which was granted based on the evidence of deliberate deception and emotional abuse. The court also ordered that my name be removed from the birth certificate and that any financial responsibility be transferred to the biological father. Update 2. The legal proceedings moved quickly after that. My ex-wife tried to claim that I should still pay support since I'd agreed to be the father during her pregnancy, but the video evidence of her deliberate deception undermined any such argument. The judge was particularly harsh in his assessment of her behavior, calling it a calculated fraud. My former best friend was ordered to pay child support and establish paternity legally. He'd hoped to avoid responsibility, but the DNA test and recorded evidence made that impossible. The irony wasn't lost on me that he was now forced into the exact situation he'd tried to avoid by using me as a cover. My ex-wife's financial situation deteriorated rapidly. She'd quit her job during the pregnancy, expecting me to support her and the baby. Now she was a single mother with no income and a baby daddy who resented being forced into responsibility. Her sister, who'd encouraged the deception, was also dealing with fallout as her own husband questioned whether he could trust her judgment. The nephew who'd recorded the video became something of a family hero to those who supported me. His accidental recording had prevented me from being trapped in a fraudulent situation for potentially years. His parents bought him a new phone and praised him for doing the right thing by showing me the truth. 6 months after the divorce was finalized, I ran into my ex-wife at a grocery store. She looked exhausted, carrying the baby while trying to manage a shopping cart. She tried to approach me, perhaps hoping for some kind of reconciliation or assistance, but I reminded her about the restraining order and walked away. Update 3. A year later, I've completely rebuilt my life. I moved to a different apartment across town, changed my phone number, and blocked all members of her family on social media, except for the nephew who'd helped me. I started therapy to process the betrayal and have been dating someone new for the past few months. My ex-best friend's life imploded completely. The stress of unwanted fatherhood and monthly child support payments led to problems at work. His own family disowned him when they learned what he'd done to me. He tried reaching out several times to apologize, but I never responded. Some bridges can't be rebuilt. My ex-wife struggled as a single mother with minimal support. The baby daddy was unreliable, often late with support payments, and rarely visited his daughter. Her family remained divided, with some members refusing to speak to her while others tried to help with the baby. The nephew graduated high school and went to college on a scholarship. Before he left, he told me he'd learned an important lesson about the power of truth and the importance of doing what's right, even when it's difficult. Looking back, I'm grateful for that accidental TikTok recording. Without it, I would have spent years raising another man's child while being deceived by the two people I trusted most. The betrayal was devastating, but discovering it early saved me from a much worse fate. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if the nephew hadn't been making videos that day, or if he'd decided not to show me what he'd recorded. I might still be living a lie, working extra hours to support a child that wasn't mine, while my wife and former best friend laughed about their successful deception. Instead, I'm free to build an honest life with someone who actually values trust and loyalty. The whole experience taught me to pay attention to red flags and trust my instincts when something feels wrong. My ex-wife occasionally tries to contact me through mutual acquaintances, usually when she's struggling financially or needs help with the baby. I've made it clear that her problems are no longer my concern. She made her choices and must live with the consequences. The restraining order remains in effect, and I plan to renew it as long as necessary. Some people suggested I was being too harsh, but they didn't live through the months of elaborate deception or feel the crushing betrayal of discovering that their entire future was built on lies. Today, I'm in a healthy relationship with someone who knows the whole story and respects how I handled it. We're taking things slowly, building trust carefully, and being completely honest with each other about everything. The teenage nephew still sends me updates occasionally. He's doing well in college and often mentions how that dinner taught him the importance of speaking up when you witness something wrong. His family is proud of his integrity, even though it caused temporary drama. As for my ex-wife and former best friend, they're both dealing with the natural consequences of their choices. She's struggling as a single mother with an unreliable baby daddy, and he's bitter about paying support for a child he never wanted to claim. They created this situation together, and now they're living with the results separately. I sleep well at night knowing I made the right decisions. The truth set me free, literally and figuratively, and I'm building a better life because of it. If you'd like to see more stories like this, a gentle tap on the subscribe button would mean the world to us. Please subscribe.